Welcome back to the Journey Podcast. And today I want to give you guys a little scenario to run through your mind whenever you guys are facing a big situation. Now, I always consider this the best and worst case scenario. If you guys have read my book, I have a book on Amazon. It's called Cutting Strings. It's pretty much the story of how I dropped out of college and found my way through entrepreneurship and was able to, really get my footing underground in business when I was just getting started. And it was a really, really personal story. It's not like a how-to book. It's more so just my own personal journey. So if you guys are listening to this and you have not read that book, highly recommend that you guys go check it out. The actual link will be in my show notes. So if you guys click on the description, the link for that book will be available. But something that I talked about in that book was always considering the best and worst case scenario of any type of risk that you take in your life. Now, in this situation, we are going to be talking about fitness coaching because what we do is we work with personal trainers. We help them start the coaching business. And most of the people that we work with are coming from backgrounds of working 9 to 5, or they're in college and they're looking to switch careers or start a new opportunity. And so there can be a huge risk with one, investing in themselves, two, starting their own business, and three, quitting their job and starting something completely new. And this is something that I personally faced as well when I was faced with that same decision. Just to give you guys some context, there was a period of my life when I was at 21, 22 years old. I was bussing tables for about 2 years, making decent money for a 21-year-old. I had enough money to, pretty much live and party, but it wasn't anything I could, live a sustainable life off of. And then also I was in college, I was going to school, I was trying to get my degree in psychology. I ended up getting my associates, did not make it to a 4-year, but there came to a point to where I was faced with the decision of okay, what am I going to do with my life? Because I can't continue going to school until I'm 30. And I also can't continue bussing tables until I'm 30. And, just to make a long story short, there's more details in the book of what actually happened, why I was kind of stuck in that situation. But for the most part, that's pretty much what I was looking at. That was my career path, what I was looking at. And so I came to a decision that it would be faster for me to reach my goals if I just did the damn thing myself and started my own business. And I was at a situation where it's okay, do I do this? Do I not do this? And I ran through this scenario of the best and worst case scenario in my head. And this is what I want you guys to do when you're faced with a big decision as well, or a big risk as well. Think, what is the absolute best case scenario if everything went right? Then ask yourself, what is the absolute worst case scenario if everything went wrong? And you'll find that for the most part, when you take on a risk, it is more likely that you achieve the best case scenario because you are playing for that opportunity to make it work, and you're putting intention to make that best case scenario actually come out. Otherwise, why would you go after that risk? So the likelihood of you achieving that best case scenario is significantly higher than you achieving the worst case scenario. In fact, the only way you would actually achieve the worst case scenario is if you got started and then quit halfway through. That's really the only reason. But if you know and trust yourself enough to know that you'll see whatever it is that you want to see all the way through, the likelihood of you achieving the best case scenario is always more likely. Now, in this situation, I was bussing tables, I was in school. And so I was okay, I'm going to start this coaching business. What's the absolute best case scenario that's going to happen? Absolute best case scenario, I start my coaching business. I impact thousands of people. I am able to make an income. I get to do what I love. I'm able to travel. I'm able to quit my job. I'm able to work when I want to, where I want to. I'm those are all pretty damn good things. Best case scenario, that's a pretty good picture, right? Now, what is the absolute worst case scenario? Worst case scenario, I quit my job. I drop out of school and, my business doesn't take off. And then what? I get another job. I move in with my parents. I'm not going to fucking die. What's the worst case scenario? I'm not going to die. I'm not going to be homeless, right? Some people might be homeless, but I was fully willing to sleep in my car at the time. I was I hate my situation so much that I am absolutely willing to sleep in my car. And so what's the worst case scenario if I sleep in my car? Okay, I sleep in my car for 6 months to a year to make ends meet. And then I have a story to tell when I'm older about the time I slept in my car for a year. Is that so bad? No, it's not so bad. I'm not going to die, right? And as long as I'm still alive, I still have the opportunity to make things better. And so with that worst case, best case scenario, I was okay, the risk of me going after what I want is much more greater and the likelihood of me actually achieving what I want, because I would have had support, I would have had strategy, I would have had mentorship, I would have had all these different things. The likelihood of me achieving that best case scenario and succeeding is significantly high. And in fact, I have achieved it. This is my life today, right? But the worst case scenario is what? I quit my job, I drop out of school, my business doesn't take off, I get another fucking job, I re-enroll to school, I'm in the same exact position. So the worst case scenario is nothing changes. Best case scenario is I absolutely changed my life. So whenever you guys are faced with a big life decision or like a risk, run that through your head. Ask yourself, what's the absolute worst that can happen? And actually envision what that would look like. And then ask yourself, is that so bad? Is that so bad that it's far worse than what you are currently doing now? Because if you're in school and you have a good paying job, let's say that you have a 9-to-5 job, you're making 6 figures a year, and you're like, okay, this is a pretty good situation. I don't know if I want to start my own business. Okay, well, go start your own business. If fails, get another fucking job. You're in the same exact position as before. So worst case scenario isn't so bad. Best case scenario, you have the potential to change your life. So I want to leave you guys with this. Hopefully it resonated with you guys. We'll catch you in the next episode. Peace.